I think that what they're putting their money into is the marketing and like the brand, and also, bras that don't make a woman feel like their natural beautiful self. So it's like all padding, all extra push up. So you're giving a certain message to women that their nipples can't be seen, they can't stick out. They have to be fully covered with extra padding, and your breast must not look good unless it's covered with a preform molded cup and sometimes a push up. So what message are we sending to women when we create products like that?
Hello, welcome to Underdressed, the podcast where we talk about the clothes under our clothes and exactly how they get made. My name is Trudy Gardner. I'm the freelance designer behind Wayfinder Lingerie. In this show, I'll be exploring the art, practice, and technical execution of intimate apparel. We'll be taking a behind-the-scenes look at this industry and trying to understand exactly how designers balance creativity with functionality, specifically as it pertains to our hardworking yet delicate base layers. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the show. You guys, I'm loving the podcast. It is so much fun. Who knew that it could be so much fun to just sit and talk about underwear for a while? But if you're here on the podcast listening to a podcast about making underwear, then you probably know how much fun it is to just sit and talk about making underwear. So I had Ruhee on the podcast this week, who is a custom bra maker, and she's doing some really cool things in the industry. She has her own company where she makes custom bras, and we get into the background, where she came from, how she started the company, her background in marketing and how she applies that to the business, her team that she's developed over time, and also the pattern that she's made and published. So it's super fun. Another great person to talk to, and I really enjoyed doing the podcast. I also wanted to let you guys know about a few things that I have going on behind the scenes right now. I don't know if I've talked about it enough. I think I talk about it a little bit, but I love Clo3D, and I've been doing some workshops with the Intimate Apparel Technical Collective. We ran a couple of beginner workshops and one intermediate workshop last year that were very successful with the IATC, and we decided that we're going to expand on that and run a few more coming up this spring. So I'm going to be partnering up with Sophia Luzon, and there's going to be more information coming out about that, but we're basically going to be drafting. Sophia is going to teach us how to draft a pattern from scratch, and then we're going to take that pattern and apply it to a 3D model, and we'll look at the differences between the drafted pattern and the resulting 3D pattern. And then the second part of that workshop, we're going to be talking about grading that pattern. So we're looking at grading that pattern, and then So Sophia will do the portion on grading, and then I'll do the part where we apply that grade to a full size set of avatars who meet the specs of the original design. Anyways, it's a lot, and there's going to be a lot more information coming out about that soon. Sign up for the email list for the IATC, and I will link that below. Also, I have an online course coming out on developing intimate apparel in Clo3D. It's a beginner course. It's based on the workshops that I did with the Intimate Apparel Technical Collective last year, and that's going to be coming out sometime in mid-April as well. So probably towards the end of April. So sign up for my email list and the IATC email list to get information on all of this good stuff. Thanks for being here. Thanks for talking about underwear with me. It's super fun, and let's get into the show. Enjoy. All right, let's get into it. How are you? How's your day going?
Good.
All right. Super happy to have you on the podcast today. This is episode 6, I think. So thank you for volunteering to be one of my first guests.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have Ruhee from Rubies Bras, and you are a custom bra maker. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start from the beginning. I was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I graduated with a degree in marketing. And so I worked in the marketing corporate sector for about 20 years. And I moved to Toronto with my husband 8 years ago. And one day I was just complaining about my bra as one would with her friends. And my girlfriend told me that I should try and make one. And I remember thinking that that was a little bit of a crazy idea. I thought she was joking, But apparently in Toronto and now in other cities, I realized you can take a class to make a bra. I had very limited sewing skills at the time, so I was very skeptical, but I took it anyway because the timing was just perfect where I was transitioning between jobs and we had just moved. So, I had a little bit of time and I said, you know what, I'll take it. And if anything, it will be a good adventure and I'll learn how to hem my pants after this. That's like the conclusion I came to. And I ended up taking 6 months of private lessons to complete the bra. And when I completed it, I remember thinking, holy shit, this is going to change my life because I felt so good in the bra. I was comfortable. The wires didn't bother me. I just felt super sexy and dainty and pretty versus other bras made me not feel good about myself. And so I started telling my friends just as a hey, flashing them saying, look what I made. I made a bra. Isn't that so cool? And they started coming up to me on the side and saying, "Can you make me a bra too? I'll pay you because I hate my bra too." And a lot of people started coming up to me and asking me that. And I said, "Sure, why not? I'll be one of those girls who has like a side hustle. Like that's like cool." So I started it as a side hustle, not thinking it's going to go anywhere. I even made like a little bit of a funny joke name. It was Rubies, which is Ruhee plus boobies and is Rubies. Again, thinking it's just going to be like this cute side hustle. The name stuck, the business stuck, and fast forward about 8 years later, I run it full time, and I have a few marketing consulting clients on the side, but I run Rubies pretty much full time. And we have since then moved back to Edmonton. So I run it, I go between Edmonton and Toronto, and run it there because my staff is from Toronto. We have two full-time staff, which are sewists, and then I have a part-time marketing coordinator. So we do most of our fittings virtually, which means we show clients how to measure themselves. They book online, we send them a Zoom link. I show them how to measure themselves through a video call, and then we send them samples to see whether the measurements worked out or not. And then when they get the samples, they book another virtual fitting. They return the samples back to us. We start making the custom bras. Then we send them back again. Then they book another virtual fitting with us. We see how the bra fits. If there's any adjustments, then they send the bra back to us, make the adjustments, and we send the bra back. Usually it takes about 1 to 2 adjustments because the sample fitting is so key. We can see whether, we offshoot it or we need to go up or down a size. So I find that the business works quite well virtually, and 90% of my clients are now virtual. So that's interesting because pre-pandemic, 90% of my clients were in person. So I really had to figure things out, and I did, and I'm so happy for it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's so cool. These are like all the questions that I had to
Oh,
ask
there
you.
you go. We're done.
You're like super efficient. Yeah, yeah, exactly. There you
I
go.
have been told that
Thanks for being here.
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, thanks.
Very thorough. Okay, so what did I have? Where are you from? What's your back? Okay, marketing. So your background's in marketing. Was
Yes.
there a particular niche in marketing that you focused on, or was it like any business, like marketing for any business?
So I graduated from the U of A with a marketing degree. You don't think like you start applying for big company jobs when you just do. And so I worked in the banking sector for about 7 years, corporate banking. Then I worked in real estate for a few years, and I decided at that point I felt like the corporate world, the big corporate world, wasn't for me. So I ended up working for a boutique marketing consulting firm in Toronto, and that's when I found like my passion was for small and medium sized businesses. I like helping clients who are small business owners or medium business owners, and help them with like the strategy and planning for those types of businesses. So I really thrive in trying to help them figure out where to best spend their dollars, their resources, and their time. And I build out a marketing plan for them, and then I help them execute the plan. So either I help them execute myself, or if they say, you know what, I want to, let's do 50-50, you do half and we do half, so that they're involved. A lot of business owners are DIY. They're like, yeah, I can do this, I can do this, I can research this, let me do this part, you do this part. Or they do it all themselves and I kind of give them a plan, and they go running with it. So there's three options that I present to my clients. And it's worked out really well because I can understand what they're going through because I now have a small business. So I just really, really like helping small to medium sized businesses kind of, get on track with their marketing and their marketing dollars.
Yeah, that's really cool. Definitely a transferable skill, right? Like
Yeah.
it's pretty useful having a marketing background to apply to your skills now. And then it sounds like you're still keeping your skills sharp by helping other small businesses. So these
Yeah.
things tend to all
Yeah, they do because
they
I
all like support each other.
definitely when I was doing classes for bra making and getting my professional designation and things like that, I had a lot of fellow small business owners who were custom bra makers, and they were terrified of marketing. And they have so much value to what they bring, but no hype because they don't know how to market. They're intimidated by making a website. I get it. Like I am intimidated by, I don't know, taxes. So I understand, a
Yeah.
world where like a specific part of your job is very intimidating, but I think it's so important and necessary. There's so many companies out there that have, all hype and no value, right? Like you see companies that you're like, this is like a shitty product, but they have such good marketing that they're
Yeah.
a million billion dollar business. Versus with custom bra makers, like I find it's such an amazing, amazing product, but nobody knows that they can get custom bras done. Nobody knows where to look. A lot of custom bra makers, they don't, we're not out there. People just don't know it's a thing yet. So my hope is to kind of uplift the industry itself with educating people that custom bras exist. They don't have to be ugly. They can be completely beautiful and customized to your body, and it can change your life and your outlook and the way you feel about yourself and how you dress. Even like I completely changed my wardrobe after I started making custom bras and buying
Yeah.
button down shirts because I couldn't wear them before.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so true. Yeah, like custom like the bra making community is so passionate and like we care so much about getting a good fit and then also being able to get a pretty bra and
Yeah,
it's so small. Such a small niche and you're right, like it's the most like it's such a common problem for women to not have bras that fit, especially because I know you're like the small back, large bust
yep,
category and same with
yep,
me and that's particularly hard especially in North America. Like there's a few brands in Europe that specialize
yes,
in the small back, large bust, but like especially in North America, it's really, really hard to find bras that fit. And I'm on the same page. Like I never had a bra that fit really well until I started making my own, particularly underwires. Like being able to
yeah.
customize exactly what you're making. Yeah, yeah,
I've
I love
learned.
what you're doing.
Yeah, I've learned specifically with underwires, they're just too big. Like that's why people are finding it uncomfortable. Like when clients come to me and they show me their ready to wear, I almost always end up customizing a wire for them that is smaller. So I don't know what happened with like history and data and, like why the industry has not, um, evolutionized itself because women's bodies have changed. The breast root is different, and it's not that hard to customize a wire or make it a little bit more flexible. Like there are ways to figure this out if women truly do want to stick to the underwire bra, which I think that the trend is moving towards wire free. But there's I find the industry to be super behind in the ready to wear section, and I wish that we could kind of move forward in trying to be more creative, in trying to figure out like the wires and why they hurt. And yeah, I think that the knowledge is there, but it's not being applied to the ready to wear industry just yet.
And it's like it goes back to marketing, right? Like if you can make a pretty bra that looks good that costs $20, not naming any names, but
Yeah,
like that's what people are buying, then it's there's not a lot of incentive for the industry to grow in the technical aspect of things when they put all their money into the marketing side of things. So,
correct. Yep. Yep, it's
yeah,
true.
it's disappointing.
It is disappointing.
Um
It is disappointing. Like I remember hearing about 3D wires now, and I think that what they're putting their money into is the marketing and like the brand, and also bras that don't make a woman feel like their natural beautiful self. So it's like all padding, all extra push up. So you're giving a certain message to women that their nipples can't be seen, they can't stick out. They have to be fully covered with extra padding, and your breast must not look good unless it's covered with like preform molded cup and sometimes a push up. So what message are we sending to women when we create products like that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God, I hear you. Yeah, I've seen you be public about like Instagram and Instagram being like, you know, like taking down, not taking down your post. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
Yeah, they're censoring it.
censoring. Yeah, exactly. And like my liberation for like looking at breasts and nipples and like they're just a part of our bodies. Like I don't know why our as a culture we're super super hyper like sensitive about seeing breasts. Like it's just anyways.
No, I agree.
Could
I
go
mean, I
on
could
a rant about that for a
we
while.
could have a separate podcast about that because when I
A whole
first started,
podcast just about that, yeah.
yeah, when I first started, I was like that. I remember my teacher go saying, "Well, you don't need foam. You could just wear a bra without foam." And I remember thinking, I don't want a granny bra that looks like no foam because all of a sudden I thought of the Wonder Bra, but like the ugly version of the Wonder Bra because there's like really pretty versions. And I said, no, I don't like. I want something that looks like Victoria's Secret, right? And it took me a long time for me to be convinced that I could wear a non-padded, wire-free bra that made me feel sexy, and now I've never felt sexier. Like, I remember after I started wearing those bras, I was completely shocked, and then I started, like, being like, "Oh, like, these are my breasts, I can feel them." Like, they're not
Yeah,
covered with,
me
like,
too.
this, like,
Yeah,
mold, and it was
same.
weird. I
Yeah.
kept on, like, just being like, "Oh my god, this is completely so different from what I thought up until you know, like in my 20s, I thought the same thing. And up until like 8 years ago when I started. So I can understand the need to be patient with like the mass market and trying to say, hey, there might be a better way and it's okay. Like it's completely up to you, whatever you feel comfortable in. But hey, let me just push. Like I try to kind of encourage clients to consider how they feel in a wire free, non padded bra if they don't have, um, issues that really need some more coverage and some more padding and they get surprised and delighted just like I did sometimes. So it's really satisfying to like help these women who were just like me before and then completely change their outlook.
Yeah, there's nothing like yeah, having a well-fitting bra, like it's yeah, it I don't have the words. I'm not as eloquent as you, but I absolutely agree. Having a well-fitting bra, like it can change your entire like the way that you feel about your body, the way that you shop for clothes,
Yes,
the way that
yes.
you move through the world. Yeah.
Definitely. I wore a sports bra to my own wedding. Like because I got married 8 years ago. I hadn't started Rubies, and I wore the
Yeah.
Lululemon Tata Tamers that are discontinued now, and I lived in that bra. And I didn't think there was anything better. I had the uni boob, and I was okay with it. And it had padding, like my boobs were just squished, not flattened that much, but like a little bit flattened. And I just thought that was the way of the world
Yeah.
and now my breasts are separate, there's not padding. I can have variety and I probably would have actually changed my wedding dress had I had a proper bra. Like I actually said, okay, this is the bra
Mm.
that I need. I need a dress that's going to work with that bra. So you're totally right. Like your outlook changes, dresses especially. Like I find any outfit that is a bit more like form hugging, I guess the word you would say. You need a bra that is going to, gently lift, support, and make you feel really, really good. You don't want a dress that your straps are falling down, you keep on having to adjust it. You kind of want your bra to be like your second skin and making you feel, amazing and confident. And I just think people the pricing is interesting to me that you brought that up because people will spend $500,000 on something that like a purse, right, a Gucci purse or things like that. But then when it comes to bras, there is this mindset that oh my god, like I'm used to spending 25, $50 on a bra, and when they hear about bras that are more expensive, then they just have a heart attack. But what we need to change the mindset of the pricing. Like what is the opportunity cost of not having a good bra? Like what are you missing out on? What is the price you'd be willing to pay for confidence, comfort, sexiness, for like every day? Is that what is that worth to you? And I mean, for me, it was worth way more than 25 or $50. So that's the
Yeah.
one thing I say to my clients or people I just talked to. And then the other thing I say is think about you purchasing a bra that's $25 to $50. You're like kind of not happy with it, but whatever. You take it off right when you come home. I like used to unhook my bra in the car. So you're buying these bras, they have a shelf life of 3 to 6 months. Like it's not secret. Like that's their shelf life because the business model is such that they want you to buy 2 or 3 bras a year. Okay, so let's say you're spending let's say you're just for easy math, you're buying 4 bras a year. So it's $25 on sale. So you're spending $100 or $50 for per bra, and you are buying 2 bras a year. So $100 a year you're spending, and you keep on spending $100 every year versus a custom bra. My custom bras are on average $500. So within 5 years, you spent $500 on bras that you kind of don't like versus a bra that's made to fit you. You love it, you feel good, and this bra will last you 5 years plus. So if you think about it, you're actually spending more on bras that are like just average than you would on investing on something that's higher quality, that's custom made, that will last you even longer. And then you don't have to go through the painful process of shopping for a bra. It's just the upfront cost that sticker shocks us because we are now used to like the subscription based model where we're spending a little bit at a time thinking that we're actually saving money. We're actually losing money by, not having like a good investment up front rather than breaking it up into chunks with lower quality products.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. Like that's exactly what it is. It's the subscription-based models that gets you in like lots of things, right? Like you're like, oh, only $25 every 4 months. Like that's I can afford that, but like you're not thinking about the long term, like and the opportunity cost of it. And to put that into context, your bras also have a lifetime warranty on them, right?
Correct.
Ruby's bras.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
so that's
about
super cool. So I mean, like,
I'm always thinking about like how can I convince like what would I want? So I was willing to drop $200-300 and I could not find a bra. And I went to the super, super posh boutiques in Edmonton and Toronto. I was like, here's my money. Just give me a bra that makes me feel
yeah,
super sexy. Like I'm willing, and there was nothing.
yeah,
And so now I had to, when I started this business, I have to have a price point that makes sense for my business. Pays my people well. They're in Ontario, things like that, and good quality. But then I thought, okay, how else would I like? What would I say to myself if to convince me, even more? And the one thing that I thought is, I have a membership at MEC, and I love my membership because they have like a lifetime warranty on their product. So if anything goes wrong, like I had a jacket that I've had for 15 years and the zipper broke, and I took it into MEC, and they're like, yeah, no problem, we'll fix it. And I remember thinking, that's it. So that's when I started doing the lifetime warranty because you have this assurance that you have this bra for life. And that is worth to me, the value in itself. So, and my bras, are not like I've worn this bra for 7 years, and the only thing I have to replace so far is like the hook. It kind of loosened up a little bit due to wear and tear. And then the strap at the back, like the strap just stretched out after 7 years, and that's the only thing I had to replace. So that's where I'm trying to convince people, hey, like this is a lifetime purchase that's going to last you a lifetime, and don't worry if it uh, if it rips due to wear and tear, you're covered.
that's amazing. Yeah, I love Mac as well. You should be on the there's like a Reddit group called Buy
Oh,
It Once, Buy It for Life, something like that.
I did not know that. I will join it immediately.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. And I'll let you know what the link is. That could be the wrong word.
Yeah, yeah.
um, tell me about your team. So how did you build your team? How did you find them? How do they support you?
Yeah, so I made the bras myself. So I when I first started Rubies again as a side hustle, I remember thinking I can't sew these bras. Like I'm such a slow sewer. I'm not confident in my sewing skills. Like it's not like I've been sewing my whole life. But I picked it up quickly because I used to help my grandma. She was a tailor before, so I did pick it up.
Oh,
But
cute.
I wouldn't say I was like super passionate about the sewing. Like I could do it, but then all my teachers, all my business coaches, just my friends, who happen to have businesses themselves, they said, you have to know the product inside out. So you have to sew the bras myself. I was super hesitant. I tried to outsource it right away. So that's one thing that I can say, a lot of small businesses try to do is they try to say, I can do a business and I'll just hire someone else to do the product, the bra. I'll hire a designer. I am so, so glad that I didn't have the investment or the money to do that. So I was almost forced to make these bras myself, and I really stepped outside my comfort zone to like keep on making these bras for the clients. But the good thing was they were my friends and family. I needed to make samples too. So at the first 1 or 2 years, I made the bras myself. And again, it was a side hustle. So it could take me longer. I could make mistakes. Like it wasn't a big deal because I had the time to figure it out. And again, my clients were friends and family at first, and I had to make the samples anyway. And in samples, you can completely make mistakes. So after that, I got busy enough that I sat back and said, listen, like the cost of you making these bras, I'm a slow sewer, so it took me 5 to 6 hours to make a bra. You are better suited in the marketing and the sales if you can outsource that part, the part, and it's not like you're super passionate about that part either. It's not like that's the only thing you love about the job. So I hired an intern because again, at first I was like, I don't know, how am I going to pay these people? So I started off having an intern, and in Canada, that is very. I think it's very helpful if you have the patience and you have no other choice. So I had no other choice. I hired an intern. I worked with her. It took a really long time to kind of get ourselves sorted, like which, where in the process was I involved, where was she involved, and then I ended up hiring her as a sewer. She started part-time, and then I got busier and busier, and then she became full-time. And so what happens now, and then I ended up hiring another sewer as well. So I found them as interns, and then if I felt that they were a good fit and they were passionate, then I took them on part-time or full-time. So what happens now is I do the virtual fitting myself. So every first fitting starts with me. Then the sewer is actually at the fitting as well, the sewist. And then after the fitting, I send the samples because the samples are with me. Then when the client books a second fitting, the sample fitting, the sewist is there. The sample then gets returned to me. Then the sewist starts working on the bra. I fill out the cut sheet, is what we call it. So I fill out, what style, what colors, what fabric, what size we think we should make, what alterations we think we should make. Then the sewist goes ahead and does it. She has the inventory. She sews up the bra, she mails the bra directly to the client, and then she follows up with the client. So I've been slowly trying to work the process so that I can try to scale up if I can. So in order to scale up, you need to start outsourcing stuff in a more efficient way. So that's kind of the process now. So I'm very involved in the beginning of the client journey, and then because the sewist is there at the beginning as well, I can nicely hand off, the follow up fittings and the follow up adjustments to the sewist.
Cool. So did your interns, are you recruiting them from school, or like do they have a background in bra making already? Or are you teaching them bra making skills? I'm curious about, because it's hard to find people who know how to make bras, especially like designers or all, like not a lot of people, even in school, you don't really, they don't, there's not a lot of, it's hard to find the skill is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. I Another podcast, but every single intern I have worked with does not know how to make a bra. They took a corset class,
Oh, cool.
and that's about it. And I am
Yeah.
completely
Mm.
gobsmacked. Like I'm almost thinking of, um, next year, approaching universities and saying, "Hi, can I teach your students how to make a bra?" Is instead of a corset, because a bra is what women really wear every day, not a corset. Corsets are really cool, but can I have a
Exactly.
class?
Yeah.
Can I teach you a
Hmm.
class on the fundamentals of bra making? I had to teach all my interns from scratch how to make a bra. Not one intern so far has known how to make a bra, and so that's why the internships are very valuable to me, because I can take like the 300 hours to have them, to teach them how to make a bra so that they get good enough so that, if it's paid work, then they can go onto orders. So what I do is I first used to approach the universities directly. So I used to approach Ryerson, George Brown, now the U of A, and they would post on their internal site, but I didn't get that many applicants. So what I started doing is I started posting on Indeed, and that's when I started getting more applicants, and that's what I do now too. So I do both. I hire I hire interns. Like I probably have always one intern on rotation, And then if I have work for her afterwards, then I hire her on. But now, right now, I have two full-time sewists, and we're good now. But I always like to have someone who is, you know, getting ready just in case I get busier, then I can scale up. And I'm also trying to figure out a way to have to train these my sewists to take the first fittings as well, because now it's bottlenecking, and to scale up you need to outsource like the first part as well so that we could do more, and it could free up my time to actually run the business and do the sales and marketing operations and finance. And as all small businesses owners know, that takes up more time than you'd like. Probably about more than half my time is just running the business.
Yeah.
So that's how I
Yeah.
that's how I do it. I always make them
Yeah.
start off as interns, and then I try to see whether it's a good fit, and then there's a hire afterwards. The one sewist that I did end up hiring that wasn't an intern, like she did do some internship hours just for training, but she ended up contacting me because she was a fellow sewist in the US. So I have a US person who works part-time who contacted me just directly when I posted it through my Instagram, and she was part of the bra making community as well. So that was really good. So she's the only one who actually knew how to make a bra.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's a hard skill. It's like because most of the people, a lot of people like that I'm connected with, um, well, some of the people on the podcast have gone to school and learned how to do it. There's a
Hmm.
school in Europe, in England. What's the name of it? I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm terrible. But
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like a couple of schools in
Yeah.
Europe that teach like contour. They call it contour design.
Yes, yes, that's right.
But it's hard to find in Canada.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that's super cool that you found that's how you found your interns. I'm curious about the hours. So you mentioned that there's like 300 hours. Does the government supplement that because they're interns? Yeah.
So yes and no. You have to apply for the Canada Summer Jobs. So they do have a program where you apply and they give you a subsidy for your wages, but that's only for the summer. And it's for the youth, so you have to be under 30 years old, which is fine because most of my interns are that age category. So the 300 hours is the average hours that the schools require the students to have so that they could declare it as an internship. So that's the number that I'm comfortable with, because I find after 300 hours, like you're good to go, with enough experience that you could put it on your resume, or you're good to go, in my company, as a sewist. So so that's where I got the 300 hours from. Usually most universities require around 200 to 300, and I get subsidies for the summer only. I've applied for subsidies, so it's called the Canada Summer Jobs Grant. Anyone who's listening to this, I would highly recommend that you apply. I apply every year, and so is the category. Like they end up approving jobs and skill sets that are needed for the industry, and sewing, almost always gets approved. So the other interns I've hired is a marketing intern, so I ended up getting approved once for a marketing intern. But again, it's a wage subsidy, so you do have to put in some funds, but it's well worth it for a small business who has limited extra funds to distribute. The good thing is that the sewists are based on the orders, right? So the hours that I give the sewists are based on the orders that I get. So it's a little bit less stressful than hiring an employee that you're just always stressed, like I need to have enough sales in order to pay my employee. Like for me as a small business owner, that really stresses me out. So I ended up working a situation where I am only scaling up based on the amount of business I have. But I've always, thank God, up until now, I've always been able to employ at least one full-time sewer, and then I have another one that bounces between part-time and full-time based on seasonality. But for me, it gets busy from April to, I would say, September. Like that's our like peak point, and then it tends to taper off. December's busy with gift cards, but then January, February, March is probably like our slower season. So I end up doing a lot of stuff that I just never got to, and like website stuff, strategy planning. all the things that you always leave off, I end up doing that. And then if I want to take a break, I end up doing it in January, February.
Oh, that's interesting that it's seasonal. Like you would think like we always need bras all the time, but probably as the weather gets warmer, you're not wearing your big hoodies anymore, right? Like you're not covering everything up. So
Yeah,
you want to be a little more comfortable in like a thin t-shirt.
I think so. And I think that for retail, January is always slow because you just spend so much money during Christmas. You're like, holy shit, I'm broke. And
Hmm.
so a bra is kind of something
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not, like a you can hold off on purchasing a bra unless you really don't have a bra. So that's where, and I actually really like that because in my other jobs there was no downtime, and so one of the reasons that I started this business is to have more of a balanced lifestyle and to have a lifestyle that allowed me the freedom of, travel if I wanted to and not feeling guilty about it. Because as a small business owner, when you leave, you give up your income. You don't get paid vacation. So I always feel guilty leaving during uh, a busy time because I'm thinking, oh man, like I'm giving up this much. And again, I don't have someone who's doing the first fittings right now, which I'm trying to work towards, for next year. So if I leave the business, it doesn't shut down, but the sales stop. So that's something that I've struggled with personally as a small business owner because it's like such active income at this point. But how do I do it so that I'm able to, travel for the winter, take like a month off and go to Bali, things that I always dream of that I could never achieve having a corporate job, but now I can achieve hopefully in the future with Rubies where I can, go away for a month and just, check out and just reset, and I can do that in January. So that's kind of my plan moving forward. In January, I'm going to kind of fulfill like that part of my dream lifestyle.
We only have a few minutes left, anyways. And what I wanted to talk about was the Sahara, which I love the name of. It's so beautiful. Can you tell us about the story about the name, and then tell us about the development of the design?
Yeah, for sure. So the Sahara, I've of course, as a lingerie designer or someone who's passionate, you want to make your own thing, but you don't start making your own thing. I mean, I didn't either. I was way too nervous so I, used other designers' patterns, and I would start off like using patterns that were already in the market to outfit my clients, of course, with the designer's permission. And then I ended up seeing a gap in my favorite bra, which I found from, I think it was Urban Outfitters. I ended up finding like this triangle bra, and I convinced myself at the time, hey, I can make this work. Like I really want this bra. Just it's just gonna work. Of course, it didn't. I came home, I wore it for a day, and my shoulders hurt so much. The straps were digging in, and I even tried adjusting it, and that's when I got so frustrated that I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give this a shot. Nobody will know I'm doing it, so it doesn't matter if I fail. So I ended up on my journey to make a triangle bra. There are a few similar ones in the market, but I found they did not fit me. And I really tried to make everything that I could in the market work for me because I was so scared of doing it myself from scratch. Like it's scary. And so I ended up going on a journey. I made it just for myself. Then I started, making it for other clients. Like I just graded it up, and I never thought that I would release a pattern. Then after a year, the pattern was super successful. And that's when I started the journey of trying to figure out how to make this thing. And I had no clue what I was doing. Thank goodness for this bra making community because I would have never been able to have the confidence or the tools, the resources. They just, as soon as I contacted them and I said I need help, they were on board, and that blew my mind away. Then I started reaching out to other business owners in the bra making community and just bra makers, and everyone was so willing to help, and that's what drove me to do this. And so that's kind of what how the process worked. It took about, I would say, like another year to do it and to have the testing and things like that. And for me, I don't like releasing anything that I'm not completely, like I never release things ahead of time. I will always make sure to do things right and I release it properly. That's just like who I am. And so it took longer than expected to release, but then when it did, I I remember thinking, what name am I going to have it? And that's like the fun part, right? Like, what are you going to name your pattern? And
Yeah.
my husband and I decided not to have children. And the Sahara was my first baby name when when I was a little girl. Like I have like a list of baby names that I've always kept, and the Sahara was my first name, and so I named my baby, my non-human baby, the Sahara. And the meaning of Sahara is like, your companion, and someone who like supports you, and someone you can lean on. And I was like, oh shit, this is like the best. This is the best name ever. And so that's how the name came about. And yeah, and it's been a great journey. I've had so many people saying that they love the Sahara. And of course, I have such good feedback that now I want to do like an updated version of the Sahara, because I'm like, oh, there's so many things that I've learned from people and I've seen, and I can like make all these adjustments. And now I know why people don't release an updated version, because it's really hard. Those changes that we're trying to make
A
are
lot of work. Yeah.
a lot of work. And I thought, no, this can't be that much work moving across cup cement. As you know, because you've helped us behind the scenes of this, it's harder than we thought. So hopefully I can release the updated version and then kind of move on to my next idea of a pattern, since I didn't completely bomb the first one.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's totally a rabbit hole too, right? You're like, I'm just gonna fix this one little thing, and then you're like, I'm gonna fix this and this and this, and then it's
Yeah.
like and I'm like that too. Like I love problem solving, so I'll just like keep tweaking, and like at a certain point, you're like not making any much gains, like, but you just like I
Yes.
just love like getting into the process. It's
Oh,
hard
me
to like
too.
take yourself back and be like, okay, it's ready
Yes.
to go.
I think so. I think at some point I have to just stop. I'm learning that last couple of days that it's like, okay, you know what? It's not going to fit everyone, but you're going to do the best you can, because you need to kind of like know when to stop. And I think we're reaching that point where like we're doing the best we can. And I hope the updates make a difference to people who felt like it didn't fit them. And I've always been very conscious of making it size inclusive, because the patterns that I find in the market for bras are not size inclusive. Like they just don't have the larger size ranges. And a lot of my clients are those larger size ranges. So I want to make sure that if I do release a pattern, that everyone feels included. And I've said on the website, on my page, that if you feel the pattern is not working for you, or there's a size that's not included, we will, after you purchase the pattern, we'll make a pattern for you, customized, free of charge, if what you have in our patterns don't work for you.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing, Ruhi. Yeah, the amount of love, like you can just feel that you've poured into this business, like because I love the approach. I love that you approach this business from like how can I make the world a little bit better? Like this is what like I've come to this point in my life where like I really appreciate other people who like are approaching the world from that way. Like not just like it's nice to make money and we have to, right? Like it's a part of like just moving through the world, but it's also there's so much value in knowing that you're providing value to the world. That's just not it's not just monetary and you're not just making money, but you're providing value.
Exactly. Absolutely. I want to provide value, and I also want to pay my bills. So how do I do that in a way that I'm like happy with this business? I'm not doing it for free, as my husband sometimes says. What would you rather be
Yeah.
doing? Would you rather be sitting on a beach or making bras if it was the same amount of money? And so you always have to take that into consideration. But yeah, I love what I do, and honestly, I don't think that I would be loving this without like the support of the bra making community. Like it is so I can't stress that enough, that I get so much encouragement. I have so many people that like message me and say you're doing a great job. I have people who I can reach out to, like even suppliers, right? Like suppliers are so nice. They're so gracious. We have suppliers in Canada, in the US. I meet people from overseas, and it's crazy. The network is worldwide, but I feel like they're like a little family. It's just so like I don't feel alone or isolated at all, even though I work, in home by myself a lot of the times. So that's really beautiful, I think. Something I didn't expect.
Totally agree. It's a very good community. It's such a sharing community. And like if you try to like once I plug into the industry, like the wider industry, I hear that like there's like secrecy surrounding it and people don't like being like sharing their knowledge. And but I haven't experienced that at all. Like it hasn't at all been my experience. And I'm very grateful for that because it's been so nice to be able to access knowledge like and share knowledge. It's really nice.
I agree with your statement about secrecy. I am I share things almost to a fault. Like I'm a very open, transparent person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And so when I first started, I heard about this secrecy. People don't like sharing, their knowledge, or they keep a lot of things uh, secret or close to their hearts. And I remember thinking, okay, that's not me. Maybe I don't belong here. But now I find from the 8 years I've been in this business, there's been a complete shift in the new generation of bra makers that are willing to, share their knowledge and work together to uplift everyone. And I I am such a believer in that I tend to gravitate towards people who are like that as well. And of course, there's still people in the community that are not like that, and I tend to, kind of not. I try to move away from those people. Like I want to really be purposeful in who I interact with, who I confide in, and I want them to be like-minded. I want them to be, open and help women, women supporting women. And so I think it's changing and it's really beautiful to see. And so I'm happy about that. The final question was, what do you love about bra making or bra designing, and what do you hate? So I love fabric shopping. I know everyone says that, but honestly, it's just so satisfying to see something new and pretty and buying it. It's like I get like an endorphin rush immediately. And it's almost you don't even feel guilty because you're like, oh, well, it's for my business. Like I have to buy it. I absolutely love seeing other people source things and seeing, and now, to speak on secrecy, they tell you where they get the supplies from, or I message them and they're so like, I got it here. They're so excited. So I love that everyone's willing to share, where they got their materials and supplies from. I love buying materials. I love the strategy and planning. Like I am a strategy and planning person, and I love planning and strategy for my own business. And I love coming up with like creative ideas and creative pattern designs, and like that's like what I could do that all day. And I love mentoring and having like a team that I'm proud of and that support me and I support them, and we work together as a little family. So I love that family, the family aspect. What I don't like, I would say, is probably like the operations and the finance, like that, the back work that nobody knows about, that takes so much of your time. It's not something that I like doing. I could, I would outsource all of that if I could, but it is like the name of the game in a small business. I hate taxes and doing finances and things like that. Thank God I'm married to someone who's really good at it. But that's about it in terms of things I don't like. Like, of course, sewing, I like the sewing. Can I sew all day, every day? Probably not. So those are the kind of things that I love about the business, and some things that I kind of don't like about the business. But the good definitely outweighs weighs the cons in having a small bra making business like Ruby's.
That's a fantastic answer. And I think a perfect place to end the podcast. Thank you so much again for being here, Ruhee. And I will link, I'll try to find links to everything that we talked about. I always just throw it in the end of the show notes. And this was awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.